stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horse is kinda snuffy, cold chill up your spine. You'll get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight.
Howdy there, I'm Matt McKinley and we're burning daylight.
In the saddle till the job's done right.
Welcome to Burning Daylight, the only podcast for the working cowboy. Well, howdy there, daylight burners. Let me see. Well, that is not correct, but we'll leave that off. Don't worry about it. Don't you worry about it. Happy Friday. Cheers to the weekend. Hope you got something planned, and if you don't, even better. I don't know what you got going on. I don't know what floats your boat, but let's get into it. This is the Friggin Farm Ranch Report for Friday, April 24th, 2026. This is the weekly wrap-up, and the week in one sentence. Okay, it's a long sentence, but it's a sentence. The U.S. cattle herd is at a 75-year low. Cargill just announced it's shuttering a beef plant in Milwaukee. The DOJ is 5 days into a criminal antitrust probe on the Big Four packers. And crude oil spent the week above $90 a barrel because the Strait of Hormuz is still a shooting gallery, essentially. But today's lead is not the war. It's talks about Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins. She was supposed to travel down to Douglas, Arizona port to break ground on a screwworm sterile fly project today. That trip was canceled. No new date about it, no press release. And that matters because the screwworm is now about 80 miles off the Texas border and we're about out of runway. Let's see. All right. Yeah, well, okay, so, and meanwhile, cattle clawed back 42 cents on the June contract to settle at 243.50. It's two straight sessions holding the 242.875 low that we called as a possible floor on Wednesday. Box beef inversion is still alive. Choices at 381.92 and select at 383.64. Select's a $1.72 above choice for the third week's running. So let's get into the rest of the show. But before we do, let me tell you about our friends over at Lone Star Stockyards. They're in Wildorado, Texas, just outside of Amarillo. I got a sale going every Tuesday at 11 a.m. Central Time with a delicious Mexican food truck outside at every sale. They got the Texas Angus Association feeder calf sales on March 5th, October 6th, and December 1st, and they're already accepting horses into their next consignment sale. They finished up their spring catalog sale. Really drew a good crowd, and horses brought some really good money. But they brought in about 1,500 head this week. A lot of feeder cattle, heifers, especially the 6 to 8 weight heifers, bringing a premium. Everything else was kind of following the futures market. A little bit of a slide this week, but cash cattle market's still very hot. If you got any questions over there for Lone Star Stockyards, you can check them out online. It's LoneStarStockyards.com. That's where we're at right now on the screen. Give Bill Martin a holler. He's the owner over there, 970-302. It's 970-302-5834. Sheldon Field is a yard manager over there, 806-736-0040. And the office is 806-677-0777. But make sure you go check them out. They're a real life sale barn selling real cattle and with real buyers in the audience bidding real dollars. It's how price discovery works, and we're a big fan of it over here on the Friggin Farm Ranch Report. So go check out LoneStarStockyards.com. Let them know you heard about it on the Burning Daylight podcast on the Friggin Farm Ranch Report. All right, let's get in to the meat of the episode. All right. On the market flash, we've got this is where the herd stands here at the close of the week today. June live cattle settled at 243.50. That was up 42.5 cents. August live cattle at 240.15. That's up 97.5. Big climb there. May feeder cattle, May feeder futures, 358.875. That was up 45 cents. August feeders at 359.35. That's up 47.5 cents. And the CME feeder index last print on the 22nd was at 370 even. June live hogs at 103.45. That was up 80 cents. The fourth day in a row. Grain. Am I still on this card? I think I need another one. No, I don't. On the grain side, May corn's at 457.25. That was up 1 3/4 cents. 4 straight sessions in the green. May soybeans. Where are we at? May soybeans. 1160.5. That was up 3/4, basically even. Chicago May wheat's at 607. That was down 3 3/4 cents. And the Kansas City hard red winter wheat for May is at 635. That was down 8 3/4. The biggest loser of the day. On the energy side of things, West Texas crude, June West Texas crude's at 94.83 a barrel. Still higher than hell. The Brent June crude, our data is, what did it say? Brent data pool showed Brent below West Texas at 91.24, which would invert the spread. So double check let me pull up the Burning Daylight report. Pop that up on the screen because why not? Why not? I got the information. Let's put it to good use. All right. On reading the herd today, we got 43%, which is a low confidence. It's a watch market stance. Drought stress is elevated. Corn's up 2.5%, and live cattle are weakening with the packer leverage increasing a little bit. So, again, market's at an inflection point. Wait for confirmation before acting. And then the freedom framework's right at a 50. We got feed costs at a 54, beef supply at a 53. Policy risks below the halfway mark at 49. Demand's still pretty high at 59, and then drought is bringing everything down at 20 out of 100. What were we looking at? Brent crude, I believe. All right, energy. We got highway diesel at 5.40 a gallon. That's down 21 cents. West Texas crude at 94.88 and Brent crude at 99.78. So just call it $100 a barrel on the Brent index. The AAA national diesel average is at 5.46.5. It's down about 1.5 cents. The EIA average is at 5.40 and 3/10. On the metals side, as the profit taking continues, June gold is at 47.04.90. That's $19.10 down. May silver is at 75.295, down 21 cents. On the loan rates, Fed fund effective rates at 3.64, prime at 6.75, 10 years at 4.3, with the 2-year at 3.79. Okay, let's go into the let's go into. There we go. We'll go into the cattle deep dive. Okay. So cattle are trying to build a floor. June live cattle closed on a 2-day hold at 243.50. That was above that the Wednesday 242.875 low. The next resistance is 245. Close above 245 on Monday, and we've got a technical reversal. Lose 242, and the next real support is 240. Now the story behind the chart. Part of it anyways, is Cargill, the Milwaukee plant, closing May 31st. It's 221 jobs gone, and it's the third major closure in the plant closure of the Big Four in just this year. So Tyson's Lexington, Nebraska cut over 3,000 jobs earlier this spring. The JBS plant in Riverside, California shut down completely, and now the Cargill plant in Milwaukee. The herd's at a 75-year low, and the shackle space is shedding to match. Packers are losing about $194 a head on paper. The box beef cutout shows choice at $389 or $381.92 and select at $383.64. So select is still inverted over choice by $1.72 this time. It's the third straight week of inversion, and it's not just a blip anymore. That's a structural signal that the loin and the rib demand is weak, while the chuck and the round are bid up by ground beef grinders chasing volume. On the DOJ side, the antitrust probe is on day 5. Grand jury convened last Monday. Cargill, JBS, National Beef, and Tyson are all under investigation on procurement and pricing. No specific target has been named yet, but the optics of Cargill announcing a plant closure 24 hours before day 5 of a criminal antitrust probe are going to get somebody called in front of the microphone. And then we'll get Congress to do their little song and dance so they can use it as a campaign video later on down the road. Meanwhile, nothing will actually happen. Sid Miller in Texas is still the loudest public voice backing the probe. We said we'd move DOJ to weekly cadence. So check it out on Monday. But today is day 5, and the silence is getting louder. The 5-area cash cattle weekly for the week ending April 19th was slow to publish today. The most recent confirmed print was 235.08 on the March 22nd week. I haven't seen anything for today. I haven't seen an update anyway. So soon next episode, if we do have that available, I will update you on that. All right. So now let's this slideshow's all over the place. All right. Well, we'll come back to that. All right. Sale barn pulse. I did see that card. All right. Here we go. Around the barns this week, Joplin Regional moved 10,608 head on Monday. That's a monster run. Steers under the 475-pound mark sold 10 to 35 lower week over week. That's your bad news, but the weights over 475 sold 5 to 20 cents higher, and heifers were mixed with either 6. There was anywhere from 6 lower to 15 higher. There was a large lot of 472 head of 637 pound heifers that brought 434. And 426 head of 915 pound steers that brought 337 a hundred. That's big money for a 900 pound steer. Oklahoma City West there in El Reno, Wednesday expected run of 6,500 head was actually 2,150. Consigners were holding back because of the down market this week. Calves traded 10 to 15 lower overall, but the 500-pound heifers caught 5 higher on the strong demand. 35% of the run was unweaned, which is keeping a lid on the premium. Yesterday we had this at 83 head. The USDA LMR livestock marketing report today shows 91.47. Either way, though, the 2,150 head figure on Wednesday, it was relevant in this read. Oklahoma National and OKC ran 5,000 plus head on Monday. There was a heavy volume in stocker calves and feeder yearlings. Intense demand on the grass-ready stockers. Beaver County stockyards, where all the replacement market is telling the real story. 500-pound lean heifers brought 503 per hundredweight. Holy cow! Running age pairs are bringing $4,700 a pair. It's a small herd and a high replacement cost, but that's the math that's going to keep cattle supply tight into 2027. There is a dispersal watch. Frank Hill and Son ran the first half of a full head dispersal on Monday. The second half will be on May 4th. JT Angus is running a dispersal of donor cows and bred females today. And Superior Livestock's next video sale is Thursday, April 30th. And that's where we find out if the Gulf Coast Classic record of 57,077 head from 23 states was a peak or if it was a new baseline. Western Video Market in Paso Robles on Friday, May 1st. All right, on the horse market side, where did I see that at? We got a horse one in here somewhere. Maybe not. Oh, there it is right there. Okay. On the horse market side, the NCHA Super Stakes and the Heritage Place. They wrapped up in Fort Worth on April 13th. 4-year-old Open Champ was Red and Milds, ridden by Michael Cooper for Wheeler Dealer Cutting Horses. He scored a 223.5 for $77,514.77 plus another $97.02 in Chrome Cash. The 5 to 6-year-old Open Champ was LBR Hang'em, ridden by Kenneth Platt for Solo Select Horses, and he scored a 228 for $32,696.12. The Heritage Place Spring Forward online sale wrapped March 8th. Top seller was Dynasty at $38,000. Sale average at $13,500. And the big one coming up, we got the return to the Bermuda sale is back at the 4.6s in Guthrie, Texas later this year. And that's the ranch horse benchmark. They sell some high dollar horses there. Okay, let's get into the inputs. Where did I see that at? Okay. On the inputs, crude settled West Texas crude settled at 94.83 for June, and then the Brent was at 99.78. The story is still the Hormuz risk premium, and it's still a live one. For the week, West Texas index is up something north of 3%, even accounting for today's profit-taking pullback. The EIA weekly petroleum report for the week ending April 17th. We cover this Wednesday, but the print matters for the whole week read. Crude stocks built 1.9 million barrels, but gasoline stocks drew 4.6 million. Distillates drew another 3.4 million. And the crude build is the fake out. The product draws are the signal. Refined product is tight, and that's what sets the price at the pump, which is why diesel is still a punishing number with the AAA average today at 546.5, which is up 8 cents from 2 weeks ago. The lock diesel call we made on Monday is still kind of holding up. Fertilizer is still ugly. DTN retail survey, anhydrous is over 1,000 for the first time since 2023 is at 1,088. DAP is at 886. Urea is at 847 and probably going to continue higher with the Hormuz Strait stuff. MAP was at 922 a ton and potash at 489. But urea is the story. Most of the urea on the Gulf and East Coast comes from Saudi Arabia and the UAE through the Red Sea or the Strait of Hormuz. So war risk insurance premiums on the Hormuz transits are now running 1 to 1.5% of whole value per trip. So on a $100 million tanker that is roughly $1 million per transit, roughly $1 million per transit, 4 times what premiums were before this conflict started. The cost is getting baked into every ton of urea that lands at a Gulf Coast port. All right, on the war reel side of things, it's still a tanker war. But it's not a kinetic one for now, anyways. The U.S. Navy intercepted and boarded a third sanctioned tanker, the MT Majestic X, in the Indian Ocean. That vessel was carrying Iranian oil to China. It is the third U.S. seizure in a week. The Tiffany, the Tosca, and now the Majestic X. Iran has not responded yet today. So this the war reel headline is not a new seizure. It's more the insurance market with war risk premiums at 1 to 1.5% of the whole value. That means a loaded tanker is paying $1 million in extra insurance just to transit. That cost gets passed to refiners, and refiners pass it to the diesel buyers. And diesel buyers pass it to the freight, and freight gets passed down to you and the feed store and the grocery store and the clothing store and everything else, because everything gets shipped on a truck and every truck burns diesel. And that's why the war reel still matters even on a slow news tanker type of day. But luckily it was a relatively slow day on that front. So good news there. All right, let's get into the rural America stories. We got some hospital wins and losses. We got 2 rural healthcare stories, and one's good and one's not so much. On the good news side, United Healthcare announced Monday that it will exempt roughly 1,500 rural hospitals from most prior authorization requirements and will accelerate payment timelines. That is real money to facilities that are operating on fumes at best. Critics call it a signal, not a solution, which is fair. But it's a signal in the right direction, and that means something. On the gut punch side, we got the Willows, California, that lost its only hospital. Federal officials revoked the facility's critical access designation because it missed the distance requirement by 3 miles. 3 miles. A rural community loses its ER and the jobs that come with it because of a federal tape measure. And so if I was in California, where was this at? Where was this at again? Willows, California. I would be raising hell with all of my elected officials. 3 miles. But honestly, put that in Trump's ear. That's something he would probably listen to. Chance he wouldn't, but that's something where it makes him look pretty bad. Makes him look really bad, actually. And he doesn't like that. So let him know. Let him know you're not happy about it. All right, so that's a story that will play out in every small town where the math gets checked. Rural hospitals down bad in a real bad way for a long time now, and this is just another instance of it going even further south. So, all right. On the broadband side, and this is a win, California activated the first segment of its middle mile broadband network on April 2nd. The first customer was the Bishop Paiute tribe. It's not too far from here. Rural tribal broadband. It's tangible, it's deployed, and it's working. So that's a good news. I'm sure it cost us way more money than it needed to because That's how government contracts work. All right, on FFA highlight, Skyline High's FFA chapter drove tractors and rode horses to school for National FFA Week with a local sheriff escort. Kids showing up in boots and hats and celebrating the future of agriculture. It's a pretty cool deal. I remember when we got to drive tractors and stuff to school for National FFA Week. It was always fun. On the ag economics side, there's over $26 billion in federal grant funding available to farmers right now, with value-added producer grant deadline hits in April. I don't know what day. But if you're a beginning farmer or conservation-minded operator, there is money sitting there if you know how to get it. Let's see. On the drought side of things. On the drought side of things, the Southern Plains drought is intensifying in western Kansas, even as eastern Oklahoma and Texas get relief from the storm system. Keep an eye on that. Don't want to hammer that point too hard because I think everybody knows that it is dry as hell in the parts of the country where it's dry. It's not just a little bit dry. On the policy and macro side of things, we got Farm Bill amendments, and Rollins canceled her deal. So the biggest policy news of the day is what didn't happen. Secretary of Ag Brooke Rollins canceled her visit to Douglas, Arizona, port of entry. The trip was supposed to be the Screwworm sterile fly facility announcement today, but that got canceled. There's no new date set. And the USDA is citing ongoing biosecurity concerns and, quote, the evaluation of a phased strategy for reopening southern cattle ports. That translates to they don't really have a plan yet, and they're not ready to say so on camera. On the Farm Bill side, H.R. 7567, there's 227 amendments filed at the April 22nd deadline. Floor vote targeted for April 27th, a week of April 27th. Some notable amendments to watch. House Amendment 24 permanently bans the slaughter of American horses for human consumption. Let's make sure that gets voted down. And it's not because I hate horses. I love horses more than most people. But also, you gotta have a way to get rid of your horses when it's their time to go. And taking them to slaughter is a rational, sane, reasonable response to that. House Amendment 26 prohibits agricultural land purchases by foreign adversaries. I would include that to just all foreign entities in general, if that was me. And, I'm not a big government control guy at all, but I'm also not a fan of somebody in a different country using land over here to enrich their country. Looking at you, Saudi Arabia, with your alfalfa there in Arizona, pumping a ton of water on to grow alfalfa in the desert of Arizona to then put on a ship and send over to dairies in Saudi Arabia. I'm not a fan of that. House Amendment 111 directs the USDA to compensate producers for losses caused by tariffs imposed after January 20th, 2025. The Congressional Budget Office scored the bill at $15.8 billion over 26 through 2031. No movement on the CCC borrowing authority hearing, and no HPAI or the bird flu dairy updates. No new directions there. The Trump and Xi Jinping summit in Beijing is 3 weeks out. Supposed to happen May 14th and 15th. China's still absent on the U.S. soy. The last weekly volume was 247,000 metric tons. A marketing year low. So not a lot going on. There's a lot of big what ifs on the policy side, but there's some movement on the farm bill, but I'm not going to hold my breath by any means whatsoever. Let's go on this day in history. So on this day, April 24th, Where are we at? Okay, on April 24th, 1967, Soviet cosmonaut Vladimir Komarov died in Soyuz's one parachute when Soyuz's one parachute failed on re-entry. It was the first human death in a space flight. On the ag side, on April 24th, 1898, Spain declared war on the United States, kicking off the Spanish-American War, which was the reason Cuba and the Philippines ended up in the U.S. sphere of influence, and bent global sugar and tobacco trade for the next 40 years or so. And one that we can have some fun with here on April 24th, 1993, the first Take Your Daughter to Work Day happened. Every ranch kid who ever rode shotgun on a feed truck at 5 a.m. on a weekday just got credit for 30 years of attendance. Congratulations. All right, and then on the tone and the calls for everything. So on the cattle side of the cattle board, the floor holds at 247, 875 for now. On the feeders, they're soft but firm, soft and firm. They bounced back today, but they're still kind of weak. The hogs are building. They're for what does that say? 4 up days for the June lean hogs. Corn is bullish with 4 straight up days this week. Beans are pretty heavy. China's still absent on that side of things. Crude and diesel are still white hot for the second straight month, pretty much. Gold and silver is bearish. What does that say? Profit taking on the last 2 sessions. And the Fed policy is relatively friendly this time around. All right, on the sports side of thing, before we get out of here, NFL draft was last night. Denver did not have a draft pick. They traded away their first round pick for Jalen Waddle earlier this year. So I don't mind that trade at all. Jalen Waddle's a hell of a receiver. We could use another weapon on offense, and I like to see that. The A's are currently up. What is the score? My niece was calling me and texting me. They must have been just banging. 3-0 A's, bottom of the second inning. Starting a 3-game series at the Rangers. This will winner of that series will control the AL West going forward, and I'm looking forward to that. So go A's. Rockies are also looking much improved this year. Really giving the Padres a good series, and the Padres have been very hot this year. So glad to see that. Who do the Rockies take on this weekend? I think they're at the Mets. Yes, Rockies and Mets. It's top 6, tied at 1 at the moment. The Mets are in free fall. And the A's, like I said, they're up 3-0 on 3 home runs in the first. Nick Kurtz homered a leadoff home run. Carlos Cortez right behind him. And then Tyler Soderstrom right behind him. So 3 solo home runs. Take the early lead for the A's, and it's going to be a good week. I'm just glad to have baseball back. It's good to see. So, anyways, that's all I've got for the week of April. What was Monday? April 20-something? 20th? Yeah, April 20th. So this has been the Friggin Farm Ranch Report for the week of April 20th, 2026. This is me signing off on Friday, April 24th. We'll be all back at it again next week with any updates, and hopefully we got some sort of peace deal. Don't hold your breath, but we can always hope. But for now, that's all I got. Have a good weekend. Take care of yourself, and move your ass. We're burning daylight.
Rise up in the morning beneath the stars so bright. Pull your hat down, make sure your cinch is tight. Horses you sit up tall. I can see the horizon, it's looking pretty bright. Well, get your ass moving, son, we're burning daylight. Burning daylight. Burning daylight. In the saddle till the job's done right.